Hello, welcome to Land Title Talk, where we encourage you to text your questions or comments at 904-501-4481, 904-501-4481, or you can email us at stephen@golandtitle.com, where we review your questions and we'll try to get them on the air. I'm Steve Collins from Land Title of America. Appreciate you being here. I have my esteemed guest, as always, Rusty Collins from the Law Office of J. Russell Collins, affectionately known as Rusty Law. And we have Julie Settle here from Land Title to keep us in line, look up things and keep us, correct us when we say things that are wrong. But I have my wonderful special guest, a dear friend of mine, Gene Johnson from First Coast Realty Management, Inc. And we're really glad to have you here, Gene. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
I've known Gene for, Gene, it's been, when did you start in real estate in St. Johns County?
My 32nd year.
Wow. So
1994.
94. Yeah. You started at Watson is what I recall. Yep.
And you helped me with one of my first deals.
I remember that. From what I recall, it was a issue with an encroachment with a concrete pad, if I remember.
That's it, out in Mobile Home Alley.
Yeah. It's funny. That deal sticks with me, and I remember it as if it were yesterday.
Yep.
And it's funny
I love
that
the
was
fix.
that long ago. Yeah. That was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah, that's funny. Now, Gene, you're a broker, and gosh, you've done a lot of real estate since then.
Yep.
You've also sponsored, you're not sponsored, but you've been heavily involved in foreclosures and when that happened in 06 through 2012.
Yeah. There was a lot of people call me the foreclosure king back there.
Yes. And you did a lot of explain what you did, because you were actually what I almost thought you were like an asset manager, but you were not.
No.
You worked with asset managers.
Worked for the asset managers.
Right. And you handled
I was the agent. Actually, at that time, there were so few agents doing bank foreclosures and knowing how to do them. I had a 5-county area and doing upwards of 150 to 200 transactions when nobody else was selling anything.
How many hours did you work every day?
Well, I was known to work overnight, all night, go home, shower and shave, come back 7 days a week. It was fun. It was a wild ride.
It was crazy.
Couldn't do it again at my age.
And I don't, if it's okay with you, I don't ever want to go through that again. Those are not necessarily fun times, but they were busy times. But
well, and I tell people I would love to have one more small run. For personal reasons. Because they were fun. Yeah, they had a lot of task oriented, a lot of details, a lot of deadlines, but it was fun. You weren't chasing properties; they come to you.
And so what would happen is the bank would foreclose, and then once the bank is foreclosed, it would turn it over to you to do a drive-by inspection.
Right, do drive-by inspection, analysis of the value, repair bids, manage the property until it's sold and closed.
And you would actually manage the repairs themselves, would you not?
Yeah.
And then you, hopefully you got paid more than a commission.
Nope. You got a discounted commission, but if you do, 187 transactions in a year, it adds up to be big.
Yeah, it would. Yeah. But you've now sort of changed your model, would you say? You're doing things a little differently personally?
Yeah. Foreclosures kind of waned, which was a good thing for the public.
Yeah.
And I could see it coming. I could see it waning. And so I decided to incorporate my family into a real estate team. And then we started incorporating non-family members and grew to about 10 or 11 team members and went back into general real estate. And then from there, I opened up my own brokerage and got interested in property management. A real good friend of mine was kind of semi-retiring. And I kept joking with her all the years and said, if you ever decide to retire, let's talk, I'll buy your business. And sure enough, one day that happened. So I bought her business and learned property management. And property management is a lot like bank foreclosures. It's a lot of details, a lot of contracts, maintaining properties.
Because there's a lot of turnover, right?
Yeah, and a lot of moving parts within the property.
Right.
And fell in love with that. So now I really enjoy property management. So I recently closed my business and merged with a new growing company called iHeart Realty. But they wanted to keep the First Coast name that I had. So now we've opened up First Coast Realty Management, which is the association management and property management division of iHeart Realty.
And with property management, I mean, how many properties do you manage on average? I mean,
I have about 60 residential properties and 5 commercial properties that I manage the rentals on, and about 200 association management doors. That's what they call them.
Okay, that's too much for me to even comprehend. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing with the Board of Realtors now, because you've been you're currently the president of the Board of Realtors.
Yeah, I'm honored to be the 2026 Board of Realtors president.
But you've also been the MLS president.
That was 2024.
And haven't you been a president before?
No, I always said I had to work for a living, didn't have time.
Well, with all those all the rentals you're managing, I don't know how you have time for it now, but that's a good thing.
Loving wife that forgives me for never being home.
Yeah, speaking of your wife, Libby.
Yep.
You all owned also, while doing all this real estate, you also owned a dance studio. 2
of them.
I didn't know about the second one, I don't think.
Yeah, is up on 210.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, they both were the Academy of Performing Arts.
Yes.
We did that for 25 years.
Put on a killer nutcracker every year.
Yeah, we did that for 15 years, I believe.
So while doing all the real estate, you're still doing the dance. I mean, I guess if being busy is.
And as you can relate, my wife's a performer at heart.
Yes.
So she loves to perform.
To sing and a great singer.
Yeah.
We've been to some of her shows.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. We got to get y'all out to a gig again. But appreciate you being here because, we have questions on this show about rentals and a lot of the time our issues are with landlord-tenant relationships and how that goes down. Rusty's, as an attorney, has been very experienced in that arena. What do you do every Monday, Rusty?
I go to eviction court.
Yep. Yeah. Been there with him.
Yeah, I bet you have. So, and Rusty, you represent what sides? Both.
Any side.
Yeah,
I'm coin operated.
Yeah, so he's been able to operate on both sides. I think that there's a lot of protection, Gene, with dealing with a rental agency. Can I call you a rental agency?
Sure.
Okay. A rental agency like yourself.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of fraudulent stuff going on out there.
Right.
With landlord tenants. And I say a lot, I don't have a number. It's a lot to me because it's more than one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when I hear more than one, it's a lot. One issue we had, which I thought would be interesting to bring up to you and Rusty, we had a situation where a person was looking for a rental, saw the rental, did a virtual tour, paid a $150 application fee, and then he had to pay $1,950 to hold it. Okay. And he did all that. And
the owner was fraud.
The owner was not real.
Yep. Yeah. I had one, coincidentally, I was showing a property yesterday, and while we were there showing it, a gentleman drives up in a truck with a utility trailer, and he announced himself and said he was there to do a bid on changing the driveway to pavers. And I said, I'm not so sure you're talking to the owner, because the owner's local and is a police officer. And he had called the person I was showing it to because he was a craftsman. And it asked him to do the same thing. So he was just out there fishing and would probably eventually catch somebody. And it's probably one of those deals where you submit a bid and he says, well, give me your bank account and I'll put the money in your bank account to do the job. And of course, I'm assuming when some gullible person does that, then the money disappears.
Right.
Their money disappears.
I think using a local real estate agency like yourself,
mm-hmm.
A rental management company, probably is a lot safer. So how does somebody, if somebody needs a rental, what would you suggest they do? If they're looking, they need a rental, what should they do?
Well, fortunately, unfortunately, whichever the case may be, in this information age, the rentals are out there all over the place. They're on Zillow, Willow, Chillow, Realtor.com. They're also in the multiple listing service. So any licensed, realtor can help you with that. And then, of course, property managers, we have our listings out there. The best thing to do is
Not
to
every
deal with a
realtor-
professional.
Well, not every realtor wants to deal with rentals.
That's true. The paychecks are small, but they're continuous. So you have to make that trade, where commissions and sales are big, but they don't happen every day.
But so if I looking for rental and I got my friend who's a realtor and I call my friend up, hey, can you help me find a rental? How does that realtor get compensated? They don't get compensated for putting them with you, do they? Or how does?
Yeah, most of your property managers will pay some sort of compensation.
Okay.
Yeah, and once you talk to them, like me personally, I'll tell you up front what that compensation is, and all you've got to do is put me in touch with them, and I handle all the rest of it.
How many rentals do you have available right now?
Right now, I have 4
Out
vacancies.
of all of the ones that you have, you only have 4 vacancies.
Right.
And wow, that's not a lot.
No, and actually, right now is probably the softest market I've seen it in 10 years. It's
Really?
rare. It's rare to have 4.
That's
Yeah.
But if somebody called you, could you help them find another rental?
Mm-hmm.
So they call you up.
Yeah.
Do you have anything available? Your answer is no. I only have 4.
Yeah.
Or these 4 don't fit their
Needs.
needs. Then you can help them find another rental.
Right. Yeah.
Is that worth your time?
I do it out of service. It's managing my own rentals takes top priority. But I still will help somebody, try to find a property. The biggest thing I heard, which is a detriment to our business, is I'll have people, they'll call around several different listings, several different property managers, and I'll call them back and they'll say, well, you're the first one out of 10 that called me back.
Wow.
So it's a knock on our industry, at least in the property management side of it, that evidently there's a cliche out there that property managers don't return phone calls. Now, I don't know because I don't call property managers. I am one.
But it's difficult for me because I know how busy you are.
Mm-hmm.
That to want to, somebody looking for a rental to send them to you. It's a lot of these individuals who are looking for rentals, probably not always qualified.
Yeah.
And
there's a process.
I don't think that these apartment complexes are going to pay you a commission if you
Right. No,
if
they
you
don't.
go to them. Yeah. So it's a hard thing for me to know how to help people looking for rentals.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to help them. And it's a hard thing for me. Now I can tell you, I know how to help property owners who want to rent their property.
Right.
It's very simple. Go to Gene, go to a realtor because I think they're crazy to do that on their own.
I do too. I caution them a lot, which Rusty, I'm sure, would totally agree. There's a lot of tricks with Fair Housing, Landlord Tenant Act, and it can be very one-sided for both of them. And sometimes you don't get a second chance.
Right.
Yeah. So you need to have a professional that's taking care of you. There's been a lot of times I've cautioned an owner. I said, my number one job is to keep you out of trouble.
Right.
Yeah. That's number one. Number two is protect your asset.
Can I put you on the spot about cost?
Sure.
Okay. What does it cost? What's the normal fee for a person who owns a piece of property? They don't want to manage the rental themselves because, again, I don't think they should.
Mm-hmm.
What does it cost to onboard them? And then what's the annual cost or monthly cost to manage that?
They're negotiable. Everything, in real estate's negotiable, even sales commissions. Different property managers have different price tiers for different products that they do. They can range anywhere from like half the first month's rent all the way up to the entire first month's rent. There's also a
onboarding.
For onboarding. Then there's a monthly management fee. Other property managers have other fees where some don't.
Okay.
So it's all totally negotiable. Best thing to do is, like anything, talk to 2 or 3 property managers, get a feel for them.
Can I put you on the spot? What do you charge monthly? Is that
Sure,
okay?
I don't have a problem with it. It's out there in writing too. I have 2 programs. One's called Full Management. That's where if you're the owner, you want me to handle everything. Garbage disposal breaks at 10:30. They call me and not you. It's called Full Management. I charge 60% of the first month's rent for placement procurement. And then I charge 10% every month after that.
Okay.
If the tenant renews at the end of a year, I don't do the procurement again. because I'm just renewing the same lease. So the 10% just keeps rolling.
That seems way affordable.
It is.
What if the tenant calls you and says, "All right,
I'm
dishwasher
leaving.
broke"? What do you charge for that?
Actually, I have people that I know, people I can trust, licensed, bonded, and insured. I have them do the repairs. I pay them their invoice. I get an invoice, and I send the invoice along with the monthly proceeds to the owner with a copy of the invoice, copy of the check. I personally don't charge a fee for that. It's
Really?
just, yeah. And I have other property managers say, you're leaving money on the table. But my attitude is you're paying me, in my case, 10% a month to manage the property. Isn't fixing repairs managing the property?
Okay, well,
So
okay.
that's,
I didn't realize.
and
that
again,
you didn't
that's
charge.
that's
I
my
thought
own
there'd be a
personal
charge,
philosophy.
a per incident charge to
Yeah.
the landlord every time if you're fully managing it, having to get the repair people out there, scheduling that,
Right.
coordinating that. I thought you'd have a fee on top of the 10%.
Lot do.
But you
There's a
don't.
lot of miscellaneous fees out there that I morally disagree with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. All right, let's get to the point where we have a non-performing tenant.
Mm-hmm. Well, Rusty's helped me with that before. In fact, I went to eviction court with him and hired him so that I didn't have to face him on the other side. Yeah, and I told my owner that. I said, there's basically two good attorneys there for eviction court. I said, and one of them, I said, I've done a lot of business with through the years, and that was Rusty. And I said, we don't want to run up against him. I said, we want him on our side, so we need to hire him. So the owner agreed, said, you're there, I'm not, take care of it.
So let's talk about that process.
Yeah.
And before we get into the weeds of that process, when there's an eviction that has to take place,
Yeah.
what is your fee to go serve notice? Because the process is this: they don't pay the rent.
Yeah.
The rent's due February 1st.
Yeah.
February 1st comes and go. They don't pay the rent. So what's the process for you?
For me, our leases are written to where after it's due on the 1st, late on the 5th, there's a late fee and then a daily late fee. Starts on the 6th, and then a daily late fee for every day after that.
Okay.
Ap-
What does that look like? The late fee
It's
is
typically it's there again. It's all negotiable, but if in the lease, like most of mine are $100 late fee and $5 a day every day after that.
And as much as I don't like that, if it comes up to less than 20% of the rent, it's probably okay.
okay. So there's a 20%
That's
threshold for you, Rusty. Is that statutory? Or is
it's
that
not
Rusty
statutory.
Collins?
It's supported in case law.
Okay.
Okay, but the 20% is not. And to me, I have a problem with it because the whole purpose of the $5 a day late fee that goes up is to inspire you to pay.
Yeah.
Well, that's not what late fees are supposed to be. It's supposed to be liquidated damages. So you can't tell me it costs $5 extra a day for you not to get paid to think about it.
But the point is, it's something you would
It is
defend.
legal.
It is legal. Well, that's all that matters.
Well, right. I just have a problem with it.
Oh, well, I'm glad you voiced your opinion.
See why
all
I
right,
wanted him with me instead of against me.
That's right. He'll defend it.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to like it. All right. So $100 after 5 days, $100 hit,
Yeah.
$5 a day from the first or from the 5 days.
No, the 6 is the $100, and then the 7th from then on is $5 each day.
Okay, gotcha. So this is happening. You got somebody who's doing the February the 1st. What kind of notice do you give them, if any? Because it's in the lease. They already know this.
Yeah,
And they signed the lease agreeing to that.
absolutely.
Any notice required?
Well, once it
Rusty's
goes,
saying no. He's shaking his head no.
yeah, once it goes so far, and usually I follow direction of the owner.
Okay, the owner says after the 15th
I'm
day,
done with
I'm
it.
done.
Yeah,
We had this problem before.
Right.
15 days in, I want an eviction.
right.
So-
So we send a certified letter. I deliver a letter and post it on the door and take a picture of it.
Okay.
To show, that it's served.
Okay.
And give them the opportunity to pay up. Yeah, depending on the tenant, circumstances leading up to that, because things happen. People
understand.
lose their jobs, things like that. So I can do one of two things. I can give them, with the right to remedy it, which means if they pay up, we just move forward. Or I can give them the right with no remedy, which means I don't care what you do, you got to go.
Is
And
there
I-
anything that Rusty, if a person's been delinquent, but they have a year lease, okay, but the year is not up yet. If they've been a crappy tenant, is there anything that allows me as the landlord to say, "Man, Gene, get Rusty, get these people out. I don't care. I don't want to accept the rent anymore. They're late."
Okay, well, if you have a lease, okay, that's fine. If you have a non-payment situation,
Mm-hmm.
your remedy is the 3-day notice to terminate the rental agreement and
Right.
then file an eviction case.
Mhm.
And be more specific. So you're telling me that I'm giving you 3 days to make this rent
No.
Paid?
Okay, here's the deal. Rent's due on the 1st.
right.
If you want to enforce this the way you can. On the 2nd, if you haven't been paid on the 1st,
Mhm.
on the 2nd, you give them a 3-day notice.
Okay.
Okay, and then they have the 3rd, 4th, and 5th to pay current. If they pay current on the 5th, we're done. It's good.
If they don't,
On the 6th, you can, if you haven't accepted any rent on the 6th, depending on your weekdays and stuff, because you can't count weekends and holidays in that 3 days.
okay.
So if you give them the 3-day notice on Monday, they got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to
Okay.
pay. If you give it to them on Friday, then they got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Right.
Okay, so you got to make sure your dates are right.
Right. And Thursday,
can-
you can terminate the lease.
Thursday, if they haven't paid on Friday, you can file an eviction case. Now, if they try to put up a defense, they put the money in the registry of the court or anything like that, you still have already terminated the rental agreement. You have to terminate the rental agreement before you can evict.
Understand.
Okay, so you have terminated it. Now, many times people will pay current and be fine,
Mhm.
but you don't have to. Okay.
Well, if I'm having a situation where I'm arguing with the landlord because for some reason I don't like the way the AC unit blows and I'm having an issue, so I'm going to, screw the landlord. I'm going to not pay my rent. And then,
Good luck.
well, Gene comes up with this 3-day notice. Then they go to the registry of the court.
No, you don't. You can't pay money in the registry of the court during the 3 days. There's no court case for you to put the money in.
Okay, so then if somebody wanted to put money in the registry of the court, it's when the eviction notice starts?
Right, but you have to put the money in to try to put up any defense. Well, if
Okay,
it's I
okay.
didn't pay because I was
Well, he's already terminated the lease.
right.
But you're going to try to argue to reestablish that lease, correct?
If I'm trying to help
tenant?
them, but if I'm representing a tenant, but here's the thing, they don't have to take it. Now, if
The
you
landlord doesn't have to take it.
not after the 3 days,
So no matter what, so they could put that money in the registry of the court. The landlord has every right after that 3 days to
If
say,
the- if the-
no way,
on-
I'm not going to rent this property to these people, period. I don't care.
well, you've already rented it, but you've terminated the rental
Excuse
agreement.
me, I'm not going to go back into the agreement with them. I've terminated, it's done.
It's done. Well, that's fine. If you would rather kick them out, lose the rest of the rent,
Right.
okay, and have it
And
empty.
there's some cases where I've seen that because the tenants, for whatever reason, have been either argumentative,
okay,
bad, and you're just like, listen, I'm done with you. But if they're paying the lease, you have no choice but to deal with them.
unless they're breaking some rules.
They're not breaking any
you
rules.
can-
It's just a pain in your butt.
well, I don't think paying the butt's one of the rules you can say is. Something
I understand,
that
but
causes
they
a
stop
problem.
paying their rent.
That's
You
yeah.
don't have
And
to renew.
I had a case where the lady stopped paying her rent because she was upset about something. I'm like, you got to put that money in the registry of the court.
Yeah.
Okay, we can say, listen, they didn't
Yeah,
do
but
these
she
things.
can't put it in the registry of the court till when?
Oh, that was the case was filed.
Okay, so she's got to wait till the landlord tries to evict.
Well, right, but the way you do it is while you're not delinquent, you give the landlord a specific notice to cure. Now, here's the weird part, though. If there's black mold, I need you to fix the black mold, and you give it to them in writing. They got
And you
7
have
days
proof.
to fix it. I got proof.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Mhm.
one thing.
Well, guess what? I can't fix it right now, so let's terminate the lease. Get out.
Oh,
It's not like I can. It's not like the statute's not set up to hold this over the landlord's head because see, there's a lot of things the landlord can't fix even if they really try hard.
Yeah.
Okay. So the thing that I see a lot of is, hey, they've got a problem with the house, and I want to stay there for free.
yeah, that's right.
That doesn't
Until you
work.
fix this AC unit the way that I like it,
Right.
I'm not paying rent.
But see, the landlord doesn't have to provide AC. There's no rule to have to provide AC.
If it's in the lease.
What idiot would put that in their lease?
Listen, don't say it that way because I'm pretty sure in his lease.
Well,
he has
I understand you're
AC
going to
units.
maintain it, but sometimes
No, it's probably going to say, and I will provide AC. I bet you.
Actually, it doesn't.
Really?
It says the tenant has to replace the AC filters, which means there's obviously AC there.
right. Right. I mean, yeah. So, I can understand there's a problem. So if you say, okay, I've given this notice. Okay, landlord doesn't want to fix it. He gives me the 3-day notice. I don't pay. He files the case. I immediately put the money in the registry.
Which does what?
It gives me the opportunity to argue
And
in
if the
court with the
landlord
judge.
says,
No. Wait a minute, though. The judge is going to be the person who says, I say, Judge, I put the money in the registry. This rent, this $2,000 rent, I've not had AC. I've talked to him about it. He won't fix it. It's summertime.
Mm-hmm.
But I rented it knowing there was AC. Then the judge can say, okay, so instead of being worth $2,000 a month, it's worth $1,800 a month or $1,400 a month, something. Okay. And then, so the money I put in the registry gives me the opportunity to argue about it. And then while we're arguing about whether or not we're going to go further, the judge can say, okay, so clerk, you need to disperse X number of dollars to the landlord. And then if we go another month, you got the tenant's got to put the money in again.
But I don't want to accept the money. I want the tenant out.
Well,
I'm
wait a minute.
tired of the tenant.
Well,
I want the tenant out.
the judge can make a decision on that depending on what did the tenant violate the lease.
Okay.
Okay. Then the judge gets to decide.
Because besides not paying the rent.
Well, I
Because that's a
withheld
violation.
rent. No, I withheld rent because I gave you notice to fix something.
Okay.
Okay. I gave you a notice as I intend to withhold rent. Just don't spend it.
There is a there is a way for a tenant then to force the landlord to stay in the lease.
Right, but you got to be very careful.
That's what I thought you said. No.
No, if I just don't pay on time,
Right.
you give me a 3-day notice and I give it to you, and you force things and you file the case immediately when you can. All right. And I put the money in the registry, or you put the money in the registry, I get to argue about it. But here's the thing. If I don't have a defense, I was just late, judge. Okay. Because I don't.
Well, what about the defense of I lost my job, judge, and I was getting my money together?
I don't know that. I don't think there's a statute that says that.
I like when he says I don't think, because then that means he really doesn't know.
No, I'm just telling you there's no statute that says that.
Okay, so do you think a judge is going to win or say, hey, yeah, hey, Mr. Landlord, I don't care that you don't like them. They had a job loss. They got the money now. I don't care that you want them out. You're gonna be forced to be the landlord.
I would not argue that, and I defend every day.
I'm not.
I defend every Monday. Okay.
I'm saying that if somebody did argue that,
I don't think the judge has the ability to make them stay in the lease.
Okay.
Because it's still the owner's property.
It's still the owner's property. They terminated it. Now, do we have a defense? The defense is I didn't have the money. That's not a defense.
Okay.
Okay. I can just picture Judge Rich saying, with tears in his eyes almost, okay, I would really like to do this for you, but I can't. They have the right to evict you because A, B, C, D, and the defense you've given of
I didn't have the money.
That's not a defense.
Right.
So, the facts do not work.
It's interesting, Gene, when I see property owners who try to manage this on their own, who don't have experience. I mean, the mistakes that I'm sure you've seen with people who aren't really that adept with the law, don't understand it, and they make poor decisions as a landlord because they just don't know. It's their only case. And what I've also heard too, if you own the house by yourself, okay, and of course some attorney told you got to put that property in an LLC, right?
Yeah.
All right. So they got one house, it's in an LLC. Now they got to evict somebody. They can't go to the court by themselves, can they?
They can file it. If it's defended, they need a lawyer.
Not need.
No, they have to have a lawyer.
They have to have
They
one.
cannot represent the
They
company.
need a lawyer all the time. They have to have a lawyer. They
Okay,
cannot
but
represent themselves because of an LLC.
Gene is not a lawyer. Okay? He can file a case for eviction in the owner's name,
Right.
if it is not defended and it goes to default and default judgment and writ of possession, he can do all those things. The moment I show up to defend, he can't do any more.
He's got to get
There must be an attorney or the owner, unless the owner's an
an LLC.
company.
Then they have to get an attorney.
That's right. That's correct. Because we're not in small claims.
Right.
Small claims, a company can represent themselves, and even though we do it on a small claims type docket, it is not small claims.
So I didn't know that.
Okay, we do it on a small claims docket because it's convenient for us. If we were in
Right.
Putnam County, they've got just evictions have EV in them. The number has those letters in it.
Okay.
So it's, hey, what's really weird is when somebody owns property in LLC A, but they have a management company LLC B, the lease is in LLC A, and they try to evict in the name of LLC B. And this was done by a lawyer. I did it the first time. Then he came back and started messing with me a little bit, saying, I was right, you were wrong. I'm like, okay. And then he's like, are you representing these people again? And I'm like, I don't know. Let me go ask, because it's legal aid stuff that we're doing. And
So it pays really good.
well, yeah, it does, and there's dividends. Okay, being in front of the judges every week doesn't hurt anything. Okay,
That's your story, and you stick to it.
yeah, but then I got him the second time. He fought really hard. It was so much fun to watch him go. Okay, because other lawyers that do what I do, that are consumer law and foreclosure defense and stuff we've done, is you got to be the right party, even though the same human owns both companies.
Doesn't matter. Two entities.
Well, the entities are people.
Yeah,
They're considered persons
Yeah, they're separate.
under the law. So you got to do it right. It's still court. You still got to have standing. Now, if the stayable suites on 16.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now they got stable suites with an address on it. A stay away or something like that. St. Augustine something LLC.
Stay away.
Stay away, like staying away from home and going there. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like you send to stay.
Anyway,
All right. Stay away.
They
Sounds
were
really inviting.
they were filing with a misnomer. They weren't doing it right by just screwing up the name. And I tried to defend on that, and that didn't work. They let them fix that.
Okay.
Because it's the same.
Yeah,
company.
same. It's just a mistype.
Yeah.
So, Gene, tell me about talk about rough, tough stuff here. I mean, it's just part of it. Not everybody's been through an eviction, thank heavens. What do you do in an eviction?
Just like Rusty said, I do all the prelim work. I file all the papers with the clerk of the court, pay the fees, wait and see if the tenant's going to fight it. If not, if they just don't show up, like Rusty said, I'll get the order.
Okay, so you get the order.
Mhm.
Now what?
Well, I've got the order. I file it with the sheriff and pay the sheriff to serve it. And then it becomes almost like a foreclosure eviction. The sheriff will post it and say, you've got 24 hours to move out. Or
24 hours.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
No,
Once
I didn't
the
know.
sheriff
it's not a
goes,
surprise, though, right?
No, I guess not. I mean,
Yeah.
but you get somebody who's, for whatever reason, medical reason, whatever, just totally disconnected from reality, which happens, and they show up with that 24 hour. So let's say they're just hunkered in, they're not going to get out.
well, the sheriff will come back in 24 hours. And of course, I'll have to be there. And I even learned this through the bank foreclosures. Basically, Florida law is you have the right, the sheriff will remove all the people and he'll order them
secure
off the
them,
property.
right.
And if they come back on the property, they're trespassing because the right to possession has now been transferred
Right.
to me.
And the sheriff's there to keep the peace, or
Yeah.
he has a gun, so, he can maybe force somebody out.
So he actually escorts them off.
Yeah, I
They ask
escort
you-
them off the property.
They get them off the property. And
Then I
what
have to
happens
hire
the
somebody.
belongings.
That's the sad and the fun part is I have to have what's called an eviction crew there. And they take everything, again, Florida law, they take everything, possessions of the occupants, tenants, owners, past owners, whatever. They move it to the curb. And it has to stay at the curb for 24 hours before it can be disposed of.
Disposed of by the
Well,
Owner.
if the owner of the possessions doesn't come back and get it, then after 24 hours it can be considered trash and debris and disposed of.
What? So I just a little.
But and the sad part
little weird
is
scenario.
it could be pouring down rain, which in
it's
the
not your
summer months
problem.
in Florida, that's every afternoon.
So just a weird scenario. Okay.
Mhm.
Garbage pickups on Friday. You're setting all their stuff out on the curb on Thursday night. What happens?
Well, I've actually had evictions to where I'm supervising the crew they're putting out at the curb, and there's a crowd gathering across the street,
Right.
and some of them will come on over and say, "Can we get this?" And I said, "No." I said, "You cannot touch this while I'm here on the property."
There's no way for you to really monitor that. I mean, it's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to get in a fight
12,
with one
12
of them.
o'clock at night, people are going to be
Well,
taking
and that's what's funny is I drive down the road. Once we're done and I've secured the house, my job's over. So I leave, and as I'm driving down the road, I see this mass of people crossing the street, and I'm like, "Oh
And
well."
I'm not laughing because it's funny. It's
Yeah.
just the irony of it, and it's not funny. I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm just saying it's just the irony of it is just
Well, and that's where you try to put some humanity into it,
Right.
even whether it was a bank foreclosure or a rental eviction. Yeah, I try to explain to the tenant, "You've lost. You've got to go. My hands are tied. Go ahead and move. It looks better personally for you because you're packing and moving. It's not all being thrown at the curb because there's no law that says it has to be safely placed at the curb.
right.
It's just got to be put at the curb."
Right. Clothes, everything.
Exactly. Yeah. You can't leave any personal possessions inside the property.
Pinball machines going out to the curb.
So
that happened, Rusty. You had a foreclosure where the home was bought by one of your investors,
Mhm.
and it was the lead guitar player for
Evanescence, yeah.
Evanescence, yeah.
But he got his stuff out.
He did, but only because you guys gave him time to. I remember that
He kept that house immaculate.
he did, but he had all those guitars in there, didn't
He
he?
had guitars, he had gold records, he had equipment, but he kept the house immaculate.
Yeah, and so the foreclosure happened. His investor bought it.
Yeah.
And the
And I
time
did the
frame,
red.
he wasn't really following the time frame, but they were very patient letting him come
Mhm.
back. And I mean, that would have been a
So-
travesty putting that stuff out there.
So here's the thing. I don't know where you're getting the 24-hour thing, okay? You put it to the curb, you have no liability for it,
right.
okay? If it's an eviction with the writ of possession. If you take the property into your possession, you need to move it to storage, and then you got to give notices,
Right.
okay? If you put it on the curb,
Mm-hmm.
it's considered abandoned, okay? At that moment, it's considered abandoned. Anybody can walk up and take it.
Well, what about, so I won't say Gene, Steve Collins. I'm a property manager. I have my crew there. They're emptying out the house.
Put it on
And
the
I'm like-
curb and don't take it with you.
I'm like, that's a nice table.
Well,
And 24 hours going to come back
Is
and
it-
take it. Nobody's taking
Is it worth it to you?
I'm just curious. And again, I don't know why we giggle when we talk about uncomfortable things.
Mhm.
because it's uncomfortable. That's how
It's
we get through
uncomfortable, so we're giggling. I
Yeah.
don't want anybody to think we're trying to be callous. We're not. This is a very sensitive topic, and it is horrible for people. This is a horrible thing. I mean, but I'm just wondering, because I have people ask me these questions, and I want to be able to answer them intelligently. What do I do when I put this stuff out the curb? I'm like, well, there's a table I'd like.
Leave it. It's not
I-
worth
Well,
it.
I know that's what you would do, Gene.
Okay,
I
but-
get that. But I'm not talking about Gene Johnson.
Yeah.
Gene Johnson, president of the board of real. I get that you wouldn't. Okay. Duh. True. What about somebody else? Is it really illegal or does it just look bad? Rusty's looking it up. Makes for great
That's why I was going to yield to Rusty.
podcast. Yeah. Makes for a
Okay.
great.
The best thing you do, okay, is put it at the property line. Put it to the curb. If it disappears, it disappears. I don't think it's a good idea to say, boy, that looks good. I'm going to take it with me. Okay?
I'm just,
Because then it
I
might
just
be.
want to know what the rules
so
are.
did you, right. So it's considered abandoned property. Then you're the landlord. You took it and you put it somewhere else. Then are you responsible for it after that? You have to do the notices and stuff before it becomes some, or maybe if it's worth enough, you got to publish and have an auction.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's ways to get rid of
But if you
property.
put it on the curb, it just
Right, so,
it doesn't matter what it is.
Well, so if you
It
have
could be a freaking gold plated nightstand.
whatever.
If you put it on this curb, you're not liable as the landlord
Right.
or the manager.
Right. So the point is, at this point, you want to have your life simple. Okay. Anything your tenant who can't pay their rent leaves, I don't see there much to be much value there.
I get it, Rusty, but we've had situations where people are in prison. Okay.
Right. Well,
And then they're in prison and they're not paying the rent. They assign somebody to pay the who knows what happened. The fact of the matter is that they stopped paying the rent. They got evicted. They're not coming out of prison to go get their stuff. Okay.
I
So
understand.
it's a real issue, and I'm just curious as to what the rules are. You drive up, see that stuff, you're loading your truck. You know what? My dear wife likes to go around and she sees something on the curb, man. She's picking it up. I got probably 90% of my furniture from curbside stuff. And she just picks it up and brings it home. And she's very frugal in that department. But obviously she doesn't have to worry because the law is if it goes out to the curb. I'm just curious as to a landlord or our manager who, that stuff is going to the curb, and there might be some nice things to say, hey, friend, hey, wife, I'm just curious because the question actually has been asked of me.
At
and I
the
don't
time
know.
the sheriff executes the writ of possession or at any time thereafter, the landlord or the landlord's agent may remove any personal property found on the premises to or near the property line. Okay? Subsequent to executing the writ of possession, the landlord may request the sheriff to stand by and keep the peace while the landlord changes the locks and removes the personal property from the premises. When such a request is made, the sheriff may charge a reasonable hourly rate, and the person requesting the sheriff to stand by and keep the peace shall be responsible for paying the reasonable hourly rate set by the sheriff. Neither the sheriff nor the landlord or the landlord's agent shall be liable to the tenant or any other party for the loss, destruction, or damage to the property after it has been removed.
Period.
That's the statute.
All right.
Okay? There's
Okay.
no 24-hour rule. I think you're not responsible. I don't think you should take it, but you're not responsible for
I
it.
understand. I just wanted to know. That's just a question that we've had.
If you want to send a lackey by to pick it up and steal it, I guess that's fine.
Don't use the word steal, okay? Not stealing if it's on the curb, right?
Is it the property of another?
Not anymore.
So I'm just
Not
saying.
anymore.
yeah.
Not anymore, right?
I think if the landlord takes possession of it and puts it somewhere, he's probably responsible under the abandoned property rules.
Okay.
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 That's why you put it to the curb and you let it go.
Okay.
I don't care if it looks nice.
So, Gene,
Mhm.
Again, I think any individual who owns real estate who wants to rent that real estate, they should just get a property manager. It's just a smart thing to do. There's so many nuances to the law. You obviously have lots of experience in the law, and you know how to help these people. How hard is it for somebody to upload or to, do you have leases and stuff they can use, standard leases that you provide them? How does all that work?
Actually, a lot of property managers have, the Florida Realtors has a standard lease that we can use, fill in the blank with. But a lot of property managers use leases that are written by an attorney. Better protection for them, better protection for the owner. Because with like the Florida Realtors, just like contracts that you deal with, all we can do there is fill in the blanks. Yeah, if we start writing paragraphs and writing addendums and things like that, yeah, we can get into trouble for practicing law without a license.
Okay.
You can get in more trouble like that with a property management lease, by putting codicils and things like that in there. So I have an input sheet. I send it off to an attorney. It's a very nominal fee. The attorney, drafts the lease, and it's coordinated with landlord-tenant law, fair housing, things like that.
Is that evict.com? Is that
Yep.
who you use?
Yes, sir.
They're famous for their leases. They've got all kinds of free forms too.
Yeah.
But if you want to lease, they do it. I'm a big fan of the real estate agent's lease because it's really just
Yeah, and Gene mentioned that.
But he's not using that. He's having an attorney prepare one for him, and that's just as fine. But the one that what I call the real estate agent lease, it has several pages of information and then attaches a copy of the current statute,
Mm.
which it's like 20 pages long, but most of it's statute. It has the liquidated damages clause in it, with that you can elect to say if I want to terminate the lease early as the tenant, I can pay 2 months rent, and that'll do it. Okay.
Okay.
So I don't have to worry about being responsible for the rest of the lease.
Okay.
Okay. It has a place for who's responsible for what. Okay. Who's responsible for the filters, the keeping the porch clean or whatever. It has it all there. Check the box.
Some landlords may want to have different provisions.
Well, there's reasons to have other rules. There is absolutely no smoking in the house.
right.
I don't care if you have a marijuana card. Okay. You know,
Does
and no
not work.
vaping. Okay. Or whatever. Yeah. You may want special things. And I think if you're going to do that, you need to get it written by somebody who does that for a living. And again, evict.com is a very reasonably priced situation.
Our time's short, so I want to talk about something else in the rental department. Rent to own.
Just say no.
Okay. So if I'm a landlord and I'm not smart enough to use Gene Johnson, and I go into terms with somebody and say, hey, you're going to rent to own. And part of this deal is, you're going to pay me rent. And, we'll apply 20% of the rent to the down payment eventually in 5 years. And then you can buy the property from me. But part of the rent is you're going to pay the real estate taxes, the hazard insurance.
Yeah, that's called an agreement for deed.
Okay.
Okay. I've seen it happen where somewhat
All right.
sophisticated investors have done some kind of a lease to own thing with somebody. The person violates the lease, doesn't pay for many months at a time. Okay. And then when he goes to evict, and we're talking several years down the road, he goes to evict. Now the tenant, it's a commercial deal, but the tenant has made improvements. You get down the road, the attorney for the landlord is trying to do an eviction. He thinks at the end of the day, the judge says this is agreement for deed and gives them credit for the payments that they've made with no interest. Okay, so what was probably $100,000 or $150,000 deal turns out that the payoff is like $27,000 after that so-called tenant
Because
buyer.
they just weren't being careful.
And this is somebody who does real estate all the time. It's a Putnam County thing, which I think is just
I know
Putnam,
who you're talking about,
it's
actually.
a Putnam County curse. Okay, if I had money for a billboard, it would say, "Thinking rent to own, just say no." Okay, because you can do a lease option, but most people don't even understand what that really is. Okay, they throw in that lease to own or rent to own, and then something is great when everybody does what they're supposed to do, and then you end up with some kind of a purchase contract, and you close on it. It's wonderful, but that's not where it comes in. You get some landlords that do a rent to own, but I know I can just evict them. Which, if certain things happen, no, it's got to be a foreclosure, and you may not have been thinking that, and then you didn't document.
Because there's
it
sometimes
right.
down payments, they're not deposits, they're down payments, stuff like that.
Yeah, there's all kinds of things.
Well, then how about this? If I have a rental agreement now, because commercial, you can do this. Well, how about this? I didn't say that. I retract that statement. If you can see that look on his face. Okay. If I'm a owner, and again, I'm not smart enough to use Gene Johnson, and I'm like, yeah, I'll rent this to you, but I'm going to make you responsible for the tax and insurance. You pay the tax and insurance as part of your rent.
That's fine. There's a thing called a triple net lease.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, you can have a triple net lease. You're responsible to rebuild the building if it burns down. You should
But-
have your own insurance.
Okay, but now that you're talking about commercial, what about residential?
I think you're going to have a little harder time with it. I
Okay.
don't know that you can do it. I mean,
Can you though?
don't know the answer to that question.
Okay.
I don't either.
By the way,
I've never
I hardly
seen
ever
one.
hear him say that.
I
Well-
have never seen one on a residential lease.
I don't.
Doesn't mean you couldn't do it. But he's right. I see them all the time. Triple net leases on commercial property.
I think.
Okay.
But here's the thing: with a regular rental agreement, that's a year. Make it 6 months. I don't care. You could adjust the rent every year to adjust for your taxes and insurance costs.
Okay.
Because it's going to be very hard for the tenant to have homeowners insurance on a house they don't own.
True.
They may not be, they can get renter's insurance, which protects them.
But for them to pay for the hazard insurance is a little difficult when it's not their
right.
policy.
And most of the triple net leases I deal with, the landlord's still paying the insurance. It just becomes part of the additional
But I want to stick to, because I knew you could do triple net leases with commercial, but if you got a residential home, and again, they don't use a professional, and they're like, well, I don't mind renting to you for this price as long as you cover the taxes and the insurance. I'll pay them, but you have to reimburse me. And you put that on the lease.
That's fine, as long as you've not done anything to make it look like you're renting to own. Okay. The rent includes, as additional rent, you're going to pay this much a month towards the taxes that can be adjusted when the tax bills come out, and this much to the insurance, which will adjust annually when the premiums come out. Okay. You go to any apartment complex, you have your rent, then you've got your garbage collection part, then you got your gas and or water bill that you pay because it comes in and they sub-meter it out. You've got all, and then you got a fee to pay to use their payment system. Okay, that you can't opt out of. There's all kinds of little fees that are considered additional rent. So paying the 1/12 of the taxes and 1/12 of the insurance as part of your rent to cover the landlord's costs, you're going to pay it one way or the other. It's either going to be part of the rent as something that you just hedge for, or it's going to be a way to calculate it. So I bet
you DeSantis gets this homestead tax removal. It's their homestead property. You don't pay tax on it. You've heard about all that, right?
Yeah.
That if that ever passes,
it won't work for a rental property.
It won't work for rental property, but I bet you a lot of people will be buying property instead. I mean,
I don't know.
I
think it's there to protect us from losing our homes, but in St. Johns County, we don't have too many homesteads that are getting lost by tax deed. In fact, we don't have any.
It does happen, dude.
Several years ago.
Listen, how about this? People get foreclosed on because of it, Rusty.
That's a little different.
It's not.
Yeah, it is.
How's it different? No, and you're totally off base, because when your mortgage payment includes the taxes and your taxes are too high, you can't afford them, then the bank pays the tax and just forecloses on you.
Right, so the taxes got paid.
My point is, though, it's still homestead property. If people didn't have those taxes to pay.
Yeah, so where's the money going to come from?
It's going to come from lawyers.
I don't think there's a way the lawyers can't sell their blood to get tax money.
I'm just saying that there's I mean, you're right.
There has to be a sales tax. Something. Okay, and
I'm all for consumption tax anyhow versus.
Okay, but fixed. Again, Florida.
I think just the living should be less expensive than it is right now.
Well, there's a lot of people say a lot of things about how that should work, but again, you got to have the income to have the things that we like in our society.
I think not that we ever get political on this show. We shouldn't. I just think we need to also budget a little better as counties and states and stuff like that too.
Well, maybe, I don't know, but I just know that we have some, like St. Johns County has like the best schools in the state, right? Pretty much. Okay, they have a budget. We approved a 1 cent or one mil
property tax increase.
Property tax increase. It's a separate item on the bill. What's it for? To pay teacher salaries, not even for capital improvements. Why? Because we want the teachers that are good here.
Right.
I don't have any children in school. I don't mind the tax though.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I want good schools.
Do you realize though, I know I have one of my children in the school system teaching. Even with the increase that we just did, they're still ranked 50th in the nation in pay.
Wow.
Florida is.
Well, that's, and we have that lottery to help with that, don't we? And
that has to go to capital.
Yeah. I'm just saying, the stuff's not free, and we want good teachers. We're going to have to pay them.
Right.
We want good facilities.
Roads,
we got to build them.
Yep.
Okay. We want roads. We have, think about the State Road 23 or whatever is coming through. I had to drive from Middleburg home to Green Cove. I was on that nice road the whole way. So I got to Green Cove.
Nice.
I mean, but
that
nice when
the thing comes all the way through to 95. Yeah.
When they get it across the Shands Bridge and then keep on, I mean, that's not free.
Yeah. Well, before we go any further, Gene, how does somebody find you? If they're interested in having you either find them a rental, which I know that's not so much the forte, but if a owner of a real estate wants to have you manage that rental for them, how do they find you?
Sure. Yeah. You can call me on my cell phone, 904-710-1090.
904-710-1090.
1090. Yep. Easy number to remember. You can also find me online.
Okay.
And you can find me. You can email me, Gene at firstcoastrealtymanagement.com.
Okay. Do you mind repeating that one more time?
Yeah, Gene that's Gene, at firstcoastrealtymanagement.com.
Okay. And we encourage you to, at least call him, check him out, see if he might not be able to help you, and again, protect you from guys like Rusty, because when you screw up.
Well, that's the fun thing. Real quick, I was just watch Rusty's face. I wasn't even a property manager at the time, but we had a landlord call the office, and somebody wasn't paying the rent, so he just went over and changed the locks, locked them out.
You love that one, wouldn't you, Rusty?
You need to get back over there and get those locks changed back.
Oh yeah,
quickly.
What are the I know we're short on time. What are the consequences if they do
3
that?
times the rent.
So they go change the locks.
I get 3 times the rent.
Who gets 3 times the rent?
The tenant.
Tenant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the rent annual or monthly?
Well, for the month,
Okay.
each a month.
That's just a penalty.
That is a statutory penalty.
So if I go and I say, well, they're not paying the rent, I'm going to take the front door off.
Cool. 3 times the rent.
Okay. I decide to shut the electricity off.
3 times the rent.
Interesting.
Just give them a 3-day notice, okay?
Okay, gotcha.
Just do it right.
And here's the other thing: if
But the world says, oh, it's going to take me 3 months to get them out. True or false?
not in St. Johns County.
How quick? Let's say we got somebody who's not cooperative. Screw you.
Okay, so
They're going to fight.
March
They're going to
1st
argue. They're going to put money in the registry of the court because we didn't pay our rent because you didn't fix the darn, I don't know, the toilet broke or something.
Okay, well, you don't pay your rent on the 1st. Somebody gives you a 3-day notice that's proper on the 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, actually, so March is coming up, right? So that's the 2nd day of the month, right? So you give it the notice on Monday the 2nd. They have until Thursday the 5th to pay. If they don't pay, then on Friday the 6th, you file the case.
Okay, you file the case. When is the hearing?
Well, assuming they get served by the 10th,
Okay.
with the sheriff, then they've got 5 business days, 11th, 12th, 13th, 16th, and 17th, to file an answer. And if you're putting up any defense except I paid, you must put the money in the registry of the court. Okay.
They do that.
Okay. And then after that, you're probably looking at a hearing on the 23rd.
Okay.
At that hearing, the judge will make a determination of, do we have something here? Do we need to have a, if they say, hey, this is not working, they can have a written determination hearing right then, because, another month's coming up and
Right.
they need to know how much money to put in the registry to keep on going. So if they don't do it, they lose.
Well, let's say the judge says you don't have cause.
Okay. If the judge enters a judgment, you walk out of that hearing on the 23rd, you go downstairs with your judgment, you get your writ, and you walk across the street to the sheriff and give him 90 days in the writ. The next day, he'll probably serve it.
Why do you say probably?
Because of scheduling.
Okay.
Okay. It's
What's
just scheduling.
90-day writ? What did you say 90-day
No,
writ?
you give them $90 for the writ.
Oh, I thought you said 90 days. I'm like, huh,
You give
well,
them
they're
$90
right.
for the writ, because that's what the sheriff, because it's,
Okay,
it's
$90 for the writ.
And then they will serve it as fast as they're able to, and then they come back 24 hours later. Okay.
All right. So it could be a month.
Takes a month.
Right.
It takes a month.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, this has been Land Title Talk. We appreciate you being here. Gene, thank you so much for being a part of the show.
Thank
with us
you.
today.
My
I really,
pleasure.
Really do appreciate
Thank you for
that.
inviting me.
Yeah, well, you definitely have a lot of experience in this arena, and it's fun having you here. I wish we could talk more to you. And also, man, I know you have some.
Well,
actually, what we need to do is have you back on this show when you just share of your horror stories. Is what we'd like to hear.
That would be interesting. We could tell the slab story.
We could tell the
mine
slab
and your
story,
first deal.
but you've got all kinds of other stories too with working in your arena. But we'd love to,
All right.
hear that. But Steve Collins, Land Title. We got Gene here from First Coast Realty Management Inc.
That's it.
Okay, Rusty from Rusty Law. Thank you, Rusty. How do people find you?
829-6600.
829-6600. I'm Steve Collins from Land Title America. 904-797-9600. 501-4481 is my cell phone number. We look forward to talking to you later. Thank you.